Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in KITZUR, HILCHOS, Shabbos. We're still in the introduction to all of the 39 malachos, and today, Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to conclude the introduction. He writes like this: Einshin v'kipuran, the punishments and the atonement for the sin that one committed of being mechalel, of desecrating the Shabbos. Avos v'toldos, the main halacha, the main malacha, and the tolda, the offshoot of that malacha. Im over aleim b'shoigeg yesh chiv chatas. If you did it b'shoigeg, which means inadvertently, you weren't aware, let's say, of the fact that you're committing this prohibition. You didn't know that it was Shabbos. You didn't know that this was a prohibition. The chiv is a korban chatas. In the days of a Beis Hamikdash, you would bring a sin offering. Uba mezid, if you did it knowingly, you knew what you're doing. The yesh chiv skila. If there were witnesses and they warned you, don't do this, again, these are all in the days of the Beis Hamikdash, so you'd be chayiv skila, you'd be stoned to death. There's death penalty. V'gam kares, and there's also spiritual cutting off that will take place as well. V'ayim b'paiskim eze kapara tzarech. Take a look in the paiskim, the halacha authorities, which atonement does a person need bezman hazeh in our times? There is no Beis Hamikdash, you can't bring a korban. A person's not going to get stoned to death for mezid. If a person, God forbid, would transgress a prohibition of Shabbos, what do they do? Even on a Issa D'Rabban, even on a rabbinical prohibition that a person transgresses, there's what has to take place. There's punishment and atonement. And now, what do? You have to do tshuva. Now, one of the greatest ways that a person does tshuva is you learn HILCHOS Shabbos. You learn the laws of Shabbos, and that way you will be better. Your next Shabbos of keeping Shabbos in the right way. And the more that you learn, the better you're going to become. And the more careful and the more aware of the chil Shabbos and the keeping of Shabbos that you're going to do. And therefore, you want to do real tshuva for being mechal Shabbos, the best thing is continue learning KITZUR HILCHOS Shabbos together with us, or go pick up another sefer on the laws of Shabbos, and that way you will be able to be a shomer Shabbos Jew, someone that guards the Shabbos in the proper way. Now, v'kol zeh shalei b'makam sakana. All of this is if you're not in the place of a sakana, of danger. But if it's a dangerous situation, it's life and death. Besides the fact that it's not considered that you did a prohibition by doing one of these malachas, elagam nechshav kiilo asa mitzvah. It's as if you did a mitzvah because you're being mechal Shabbos to save a life. Even if at the end of the day you didn't even need all of that, but you did it because that's what you thought was needed, so then that's a mitzvah. There's a famous story that is said over, I believe, with the Brisker Rav, that someone was very, very ill in his family, and they were in bed. It was Shabbos, and the Brisker Rav he couldn't see clear enough to see how this person was doing, and there was a lantern in the bedroom, and he asked one of his children, please hand me the lantern, I can't see. And they looked at him, it's Shabbos, a lantern, remove light, and I can't do such a thing. He said, hand me the lantern. And they were paralyzed. They couldn't. They never handled a lantern in their life on Shabbos. And the Brisker Rav himself got up. He walked over to the lantern. He picked it up on Shabbos, and he brought it next to the bed so that he'd be able to see the sick person better, to know what they needed. So he said, that's a mitzvah. You're not guarding yourself. That's a mitzvah to make sure the person is okay. Last part of this chapter is Melechet Shabbos, the actual malacha that a person did on Shabbos. Yesh dvar mav shenasu v'Shabbos. If a person did certain things on Shabbos, even though they did it when they're not supposed to, afal pi kein mutar lehanus mehem. Nevertheless, you could still benefit from the action that you did. V'yesh dvarim she'asun lo yisrael Shabbos. There are certain things that you cannot benefit from on Shabbos. Even if you did it, you can't get any benefit on Shabbos itself. But after Shabbos, you'd be allowed to. However, there are things that you do on Shabbos that you can't benefit on Shabbos, nor the Motzei Shabbos not safe shir zman kadesh yucholim lasois Shabbos. Or you can't get any benefit from this thing. For example, let's say that you cooked something on Shabbos, so I can't derive benefit from it on Shabbos, nor immediately on Motzei Shabbos, but after the amount of time that it would take to cook this thing, then on Motzei Shabbos I'd be allowed to use it. So, for example, let's say that I cooked something that I'm not supposed to, and now Motzei Shabbos I know that it takes about a half an hour to cook this particular dish. Half an hour later, I would be allowed to be able to get benefit from there. There are certain things that are usher completely, you can never get any benefit from it at all. Sometimes it's only prohibited to the one that the malacha was done for. Even sometimes for other people as well. And the judgment could change whether you did a Torah prohibition or a rabbinical prohibition. Or amazing if you did it inadvertently or you did it knowingly. If it was done through the hands of a goy or through a Jew. If you did it for a sick person. In every single situation, it's possible that the judgment could be something totally different. Therefore, we can't just bring you down one general rule and you're going to learn out everything from there. If something would happen at your Mechal Shabbos, let's say by cooking or the like, so you have to go and ask a Talmid Chacham, ask your Posek, your local Orthodox rabbi, what to do in that particular situation. Okay, that's the end of the introduction to the 39 Malachos. And now, Be'ez Hashem, starting tomorrow, we're going to begin the 39 Malachos one by one. Have a wonderful day.